for example, education, training, and development from birth to death, or we call it lifelong learning. Of course, it's a lifelong learning. Education is lifelong learning process. And SDG 4 is made up of, it has 10 targets. And before I discuss the 10 targets, let's discuss about the dimensions. What are the dimensions? So there are many things repeated, but there were three main things which I found it very, very important. First was accessibility. Like, accessibility is like how difficult or easy it is to obtain an education, including like in eliminating barriers from barriers that may prevent the child to access education, such as cost of education or the location or their socio-economic condition. So the first dimension is accessibility. The second is equity. Now, who is able to access this education system? In particular, marginal groups have the support education so that the people, the students, they get proper skills and knowledge, and then they can lead a good life. Now, when we talk about the targets, it is made up of 10 targets, and many my other speakers will also be discussing about these targets. So let us go slow one by one. Like the first one, the first target is like SDGs focusing on that by 2030, all boys and girls, they complete free, equitable, quality primary and secondary education. When we talk about the primary and secondary education, means the children between the age group of 6 to 18, and leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. Means like they are going to schools, and when they come out, it should be measurable. Means how much they have learned, like their maths or their reading skills, like it is measured. And when they come out of the out of the school after 18 years, the learning outcome should be very, very effective. Means they should have knowledge and the skills. The next target is to ensure that all girls and boys have access to early childhood development, care, pre-primary education, so that they are ready for the primary education. Like the primary education should be like at least 1 year of education should be compulsory, and quality pre-primary education is encouraged to be delivered by well-trained educators, as well as that of early childhood development and care. So this ensures that every girls and boys, they have access to quality and childhood development. The next target, it says that by 2020, ensure equal access for all women and men is affordable, that education should be, meant to be affordable and quality, technical, vocational, and tertiary education, and including university. Like, for example, if like the child is getting knowledge and they don't have skills, the required skills, so it becomes very, very difficult for them to get a decent earning or a decent job. So in this way, this is more focusing on their vocational and their technical education. The next target says that the increase substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurship. Actually, the education system should focus in building more and more entrepreneurs. Because if they have ideas and they know how to implement, they can give more jobs to the youth. And in this way, the system will become, the society will become so very capable. So this is like how they access. And the skill acquisition means the skill is the main thing. If they don't know, as we know that in National Education Policy 2020, which is influenced by this particular SDG 4, where the education 2000 in NEP 2020 is much more now is focusing on vocational skills, not on rote learning. They are more focusing on the conceptual learning. The concept should be very, very clear. Like I, being an educator, used to find, still there are many children who are very, very good in theory. But when it comes for like fixing their even small things in their home, they are not able to do it. It's because they are not so very they are not skilled. So now with the help of this particular goal, the skills, the vocational skills are very, very important. And that's what NEP 2020 is also focusing on. The next focus is, there should be no gender inequality. Everybody should be included, and there should be equality. There should be no discrimination on the basis of sex, age, race, color, religion, and even on the basis of gender. So they are focusing that everyone should get education, and there should be no discrimination on either on the race or the sex or the gender. So now we have seen that in this particular SDG target 4.5, it is very, very I love this, that all the boys and girls, women and men should have equal opportunity to enjoy education of high quality, achieve at equal levels, and enjoy equal benefits from education. Now, the next one is be about the a substantial proportion of adults, both men and women, achieve literacy and numeracy. And I think on this particular target, our FLN is also based on foundational literacy and numeracy. So in this way, they are saying that the literate and illiterate. So it goes beyond the simple what illiterate and literacy was. Therefore, here they are giving more action is being taken for this particular target. All young people and adults across the world should have achieved relevant and recognized proficiency levels in functional literacy and numeracy skills that are equivalent to levels achieved at successful completion of basic education. Means we are seeing how the NEP is also, we can also see that how this is beautifully adopted by National Education Policy. And the next one is to next 4.7, target 4.7. It also says that by 2030, all learners acquires the knowledge and skill needed to promote sustainable development, including among others through education for sustainable development, sustainable lifestyles, human rights, gender equality, promotion of a culture of peace and non-violence, global citizenship, and appreciation of cultural diversity and of culture's contribution to sustainable development, which is very important to give a central place to strengthen education's contribution to the fulfillment of human right, peace, and responsible citizen from local to global levels, gender equality, sustainable development, and health. So here we can see whatever the SDG 4 is saying. SDG 4 is mainly focusing on the education should be available for the children from 6 to 12, but it is not leaving behind the adult learners also. It is not leaving behind the important skills, which is very, very important. Like, for example, we have seen that during this particular, especially during Corona, that many companies like Tesla, or we can say Amazon, they were not focusing on your education, what degrees you have. They were mainly focusing on the skills. And I think they are all were actually following these particular SDGs, because not completely means not they were not just copying down, but we all, for development of any country, the skills are very important. For development of any country, the students should be well educated, because if the children, if the students, if the people, they are well educated, they can get much better, they can contribute in the economic condition of their country, and make their country go to the upper levels of in the economic growth. So in this way, we can see how important is this. And when I was talking about global citizenship, it's yesterday I read about, I was hearing Dr. Kalam one speech. So when one student was asking about the brain drain, so he said there is no brain drain in India. There are millions of students who get passed from the colleges, and out of that, only 10,000, about, if we say, just take it 10,000 or little more than that, they are going abroad. It's good, because when we go out and mix up with the others' education system, we acquire so much of knowledge. And this is very important for global citizenship. So with this, I hand over the stage to Anjum ma'am. Thank you, Anjum ma'am, and Ravi Shankar sir, for giving this beautiful opportunity to speak today on this topic. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was really a pleasure listening to you. I have even listened to you earlier, and you speak very brilliantly, as always. And you have actually listed out all the targets of SDG 04, all the primary objectives of SDG 04. And yes, one thing that you said very correctly, that the companies like nowadays, they are focusing on skills rather just than degrees. So and you also talked about the well-trained educators. Yes, it is one of the objectives of SDG 04. So, but there are a number of schools and colleges which are not maintaining the teacher to student ratio, and they don't have trained teachers and well qualified teachers as well. So, what do you think should be done to improve this, the teacher student ratio, for improving the teacher to student ratio, and also for hiring well qualified teachers?
Now, like when we were talking about national education policy, we have seen, and we have also seen, like I myself, I have done 1 year B.Ed. Okay, 1 year, it was 1 year. Then it increased to 2 years. Now it has increased more years. So that at least in these years, the teachers are given quality education, because what we were doing in 1 year, now it has been expanded. And they will be giving, of course, the curriculum is made in this way that they will be imparting the particular skills which should be acquired by a teacher. See, actually what was happening before National Education Policy 2020 was that a 20th century teacher was teaching a 21st century student with the curriculum of 19th century and the methodology of 18th century. So it was really very, very pathetic situation where the students sometimes, and we saw it especially during Corona, how difficult it was for us to even go into the Zoom. I remember myself, I was taking lessons from the students and it was not delivering. It was so very challenging. If like something goes wrong, how will I handle? But we handled in this time. And I'm very, very much sure that teacher, they are so very adaptable. They will be able to acquire the skills, and still we are doing, isn't it? We are learning first, and then we are doing it. We are taking, like, our now you can see that teachers, they are becoming, ardent learner. Every time, like sitting here today, I'll be listening to so many educators. I will gain so much of knowledge, and which I'll be implementing. I don't sit, quite like for being a teacher. I have very recently taken a course on grapho analyst. Okay, now I'm a certified grapho analyst, where I see the writing of the students and I understand like what can be done. So similarly, I think the teacher should always keep on upgrading. We like to have a pizza of 500 or 600, but we don't invest in our development. We don't go and buy 1000 rupee a book also. Sometimes we think it's so very costly, but we feed our stomach, we don't feed our brain. So it's my request to for all the educators, they should keep on upskilling, upgrading. You have upgraded your mobile, you have upgraded your TV, you have upgraded so many things. Why not your education? Keep on acquiring good money. See, this is such a good forum. IDYM, so very good forum where we learn every day, and with from each and every speaker. So I think the ratio, of course, in India, the infrastructure of our is very, very poor, especially if you talk about the government schools. It's so very pathetic, especially but in even in private schools, the school I'm teaching, there are 50 students, one teacher. Is it possible for one teacher to personally give attention to 50 students in a 40 minutes period? It's very, very, and let's see what NEP does, 1:20, 1:15, how it will help us. We'll be very, very happy. And thank you, Anjum ma'am, for asking such a burning question and such a relevant question. I really admire you so much. Like, I sometimes see you in Facebook, and Dr. Bedkar is there, Anshu Mitra ma'am is there. I always like see them, how they're upgrading and how they are contributing. Thank you so very much, Anjum ma'am, and all the educators and whoever is listening. Thank you so very much. And thank you, IDYMs, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for the beautiful answer, in fact, because this is something which every teacher has to do. Because the time when we studied was different, and now the students that we are facing, they are from a different phase, and they are like more advanced, especially in the kind of to handling the digital devices. It was a challenge when even we started with the online teaching. So it is somewhere we have to take tips from the students. So we need to update ourselves. And actually, even I am one of the educators who keeps on doing this. I keep on doing different types of courses. And in fact, I also inspire the students, motivate the students to join such kind of courses, to join the webinars and all. So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much for sharing your views with us. And with this, I invite the second speaker of today, Dr. Anshu Mitra Banerjee, ma'am. Ma'am, please take over the session. The session is yours now. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Anjum ma'am.
Thank you.
And really, it was nice to hear Sharda ma'am talking about our SDG 4 target. And she has gone with all the targets and the 7 outcomes and the targets which is there in SDG. So Shri Guruvyo Namaha, I just wanted to tell that in 21st century, skills are much more needed. As I can tell that 12 ability that only provide the fundamental or the foundation of a successful learning in school. As a teacher, I deal with the class, so I'll talk about the school. They also help and ensure the students whether they are successful inside and outside the classroom, or when they are in a real life scenario, so that when they are in a workplace in future, they can easily cope with the environment. As students develop these skills, they will, be flexible and they will be able to adapt constantly in their workplace, and they can easily increase their ability across the world or across the culture and be a positive leadership. Now here we are talking about sustainable development goal 4. It is all about equality in education. So we can say that in United Nations has 14 sustainable development goal with our education equality in education comes in the 4th place. So what I feel when I was going through these process and all, I found that we are in a challenge. Yes, we not only the educationalists, even the students, they are all in challenge, to cope up with this new system, with these new scenarios, and which has occurred after the pandemic, which went outbreak. And as ma'am told that there are 200 million students who got affected, and still now they're out of their education, which they have to reach very soon. Like we can focus on telling that organization of economic cooperation and development, they are the indicators who are really having the glance and interest in policymakers and practitioners. They provide a detailed look into the certain issues in pre-primary, primary, and secondary education, higher education, and adult outcome from the global perspective. And in certain, we can engage them, ours to engage them in the text, table, and charts that describe the international context to the most of them where they can really practice and come up with good policies. Ma'am has already, Sarada ma'am, she has already spoken about the target. I just wanted to talk about the goals. Few goals like the skills. We know the skills are much more important right now. Being a teacher, I would say that whether you have a high technology in your school or at your home, but there sometimes you have to cope up with the issues which come across. And at that time, you have to use the 18th century model or the 19th century model to generate and to get the education or the studies or the platform of the learning process on. So what are the achievements? How we can achieve these targets? So there are 3 main things that I would like to say. That is, we should build and upgrade ourselves. Yes, every minute, every second, we educationalists, we the student, or we who are the practitioners or the policymakers, we have to make ourselves upgrade to deal or to be in a same platform. Expand higher education with scholarship with the developing countries. Yes, here also, I think in 2015 onwards, we are doing this, and we are with very renowned universities and who are coming to our country or different countries, and they are upgrading our students, we the teachers, and we are in the platform with them. Increase the supply of qualified teachers and we to the developing countries. Now we have challenges, of course. We all find challenges as right now as we told that during the pandemic, we had a very bad scenario where many children, most of the kids in this world were deprived from the education. There were many education or the I can say educational institution. They were attempting to maintain online classes, online programs through various platforms. As I told, we have done the online classes and online programs in our school as if we were doing the, as if we are running a normal physical school. We didn't have from 2020 March, the moment the pandemic and the lockdown had started, but we didn't stop. We gave the platform, we didn't stop kids learning, kids education, so that they are deprived. And right now, all these things are happening, or how we are monitoring. Yes, we have our monitoring and the progress which has been monitored by different, institutional heads. They come and they see whether the kids, they are really finding themselves comfortable in, whether they are in equal gender, whether they are not in inequality in any manner. Right now, I wanted to see that how we can bring this uniformity. Yes, during this time, we had massive open online courses, which were free, and the educations were offered online platform, and which is known as MOOCs. Yes, through MOOCs, the education came in a wider way to the audience. STG4 MOOCs also contribute to goal 5, in that they are having the gender neutral, and they give equal rights to women and girls, improvement in access of education. As I am a social, I do volunteer, I have seen many institutions, they have given this right to the girls to have, their self-defense. And these were the things which I have overcome, and I have seen myself how nicely the jobs are done. So I would like to say, so let us get united and bring this world in one platform of education, where education is equal, and we give our future generation a very beautiful world. So, and happiness and prosperity. My gratitude to Ravi Shankarji and IDYM Group of Company to give me this opportunity to speak on Global Youth Festival. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your valuable insights with us. And you were like talking about massive online courses, and that is actually very effective. Like in our college too, we have IIT spoken tutorial, and we have NPTEL courses which we do regularly.
Yes.
Not only students, but also not only staff, but students are also encouraged to do it. So that is a very good platform in which we can learn that too. Sitting at our home, as per our convenience, we are learning it. So that was a very good point that was actually raised by you.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to say during this pandemic time, I went and I found many housewives and the school teachers. They didn't know how to take, online classes, online courses, how to deal with. So at that time, I just came up and I told that, okay, let me find some of the organization who can really help me out for helping those teachers and those housewives how to deal with their children, how to deal with their learners who are there. And then I got a platform, and I really all over India we gave so much of, how to deal when there is a network issue. You cannot take the class. How you can give it? Then we told them, okay, do your class recording and give it to the children. And it was really, very pleasant time or pleasant moment that we came across with so many problems we had in our time. And the teachers were finding it difficult and students were finding it difficult. Few of them, the parents are working, grandparents are taking care. They do not know how to deal with that. So it was like, taking classes not only for the students, we took classes for the parents, grandparents, and everyone. It was like a feast. We did an online feast with everyone.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, even we have done the same because we have actually trained more than 300 teachers. That to offline training during that pandemic. And it was very difficult because due to social distancing, we couldn't have many people at a time. So that was again challenging for us. And we have actually taken so much of risk by providing on offline trainings to conduct the online classes. And yes, ma'am, you were talking about parents. So, like, if you see the education system, sometimes we think it is just a relation between a teacher and a student or between a school and a student, but that's not true. We have to actually involve the parents. But there are parents who are either illiterate or they are very less educated. So, how can we encourage such parents that they participate in this education process to make it better, to encourage their children to achieve better education? How can we work for such kind of parents?
As a as a teacher, I whenever the best way to deal with the parent is when they're having any problem. When they come to the teacher, especially they should forward to a teacher rather than going for a high thing with their problem. When you go for a high official with the problem, it becomes more complicated. So when a parent is in that situation where the problem is there, where they're illiterate and all, we don't have to go and say that you come, I'm going to teach you, or I will help you, or I will. It's a general thing that if she is coming forward to ask you a few questions or your doubts, as a teacher, you should go to her level. You don't have to be in the level of a teacher or in the level of your education qualification. You go in her level, try to understand her emotion, and then you try to solve what is the problem for us. It is not only for an illiterate parent, it can be done for anyone, whether a person who is a small also. Sometimes they come, my brother is, my parents are not there, my brother is having problem. Please, ma'am, tell me how to do. I don't know this chapter. So I have to come to certain level and I have to, solve the problem. Come to the level where I can say the victim. I will say the victim. Yeah. So those victims are having problems. You go to their level and you try to solve. You don't have to go to the, how much subject knowledge you have or how much what's your profession. Nothing. Go to the level, listen to them, and then come with the solution. That's it.
Yeah, ma'am, that's very well said. Actually, this is what we have been doing. We have to be empathetic as always.
Yes.
And I would like to share one of our experiences that when we were working to improve the education system, in one of the places, what we do is with the help of the local youth, we did some awareness for the parents. So once the parents were aware, they started visiting the school regularly, meeting the teachers, and in few months, in fact, the performance of the teachers also increased, because in villages it is a problem that the teachers don't live in the villages. They have to come down from some long distance. They don't have proper connectivity of roads. So sometimes they don't reach the school also regularly. So once the parents were actually made aware, this situation started improving. So somewhere, like even the parents, they have an important role. If they are not uneducated, if they're not highly educated, at least if they are aware of their responsibilities, they can contribute to improving the education.
Anyone can contribute, ma'am. You don't have to be a highest qualifier.
Yeah, of course.
Anyone can come up. Even a person who are in the street, they can also learn. They can also know what we are teaching. what is science, what is arts, what is mathematics,
Yeah, yeah.
what is social science, anything, anyone can.
Yes, yes. Anyone can contribute. Only the thing is the parents should be aware.
Yes,
Okay, thank
patience
you.
should be there,
Yeah,
and you have to come to their level. That's all.
yeah, that's all.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. And with this, I invite the third speaker for the today's session, Dr. Ishtiaq Ahmed, sir. So please take over the session.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum and
Alaikum salam, sir.
good evening to everyone. And I'm very much thankful to Engineer Ravi sir for creating again another platform and giving a beautiful topic called as International Youth Festival. Yes, indeed. Today is today's youth. I remember 2 years, pandemic. The youth was literally a problem facing what to do, how to do. But I personally felt there are two parts of this particular session. One is we call it as not session, I mean to say, these 2 years, it happened 50-50, 50% the children they got benefit sitting at home and exploring, surfing the internet and getting lots of ideas from the internet and getting to know where exactly they can create their you can call it as the future and how they can utilize that particular part in their life, routine life. Say, for example, the child who was there in the 10th standard and was to tell something about the future. And when he was writing the examination, he couldn't complete that examination. I remember the children were facing lots of problem that particular time. And then the schools were asked to give the reports of the 8th, 9th, 10th, and then the child who was writing the 10th standard where exactly the young age starts, that the adolescent age starts in that particular part also, the child was not, the child couldn't write the examination, and then the school had to prepare the report card of the 10th standard, 11th standard and 12th and give it to the board, and based on that the children get the report card and the results. Those who could do fare well enough, they got good marks, and those who could not do it, they were literally facing some problem. But later on, when the year started, and then again the 2 years were there in the middle, the students were asked to go to online classes, and somehow in the urban area, the students could do well, but in the rural area, rural bed, the students could not do well because of the internet connectivity problem, because of the smartphone problem, because of not reaching to the particular areas. But in the urban areas, if you see, the students could surf very well, could explore very well due to the internet connectivity, and the parents could provide them the mobile handset, the smartphone, or the tabs, or the laptops, and then based on that, they could find themselves comfortable in the life, and they could surf a lot in their future, for their future, rather, I could say here. Okay, I remember in my days, in my childhood days, when I was there in the 10th standard, and then I was completing the 12th standard, and then when completing the graduation, I was told, Ki bhai, you have only two options. One, you go to the doctor, and or one, you go to the engineer. Other than that, nothing was there in the minds of the parents, nothing was there in the minds of the relatives, also those who were to guide. Even though there were lots of opportunities there in the market, but we couldn't get the proper. Now if you see, lots of career counseling sessions are happening there, online seminars happening, webinars happening, and lot many things are available there on the website, lot many things are available there on the internet. So students were have to just go to the uh, futuristic mind and then feel exactly what he or she wants to become in his or her life, what is her or her his interest. In our time, I remember we never used to get our own interest, what we want to become, what we want to be there in the future. But today we have to understand the psychology of the children, of our own kids, to know what he or she wants to become in the life. And then instead of we telling them, Instead of we going personally to find out to the colleges, to the institution, to the organizations, to the universities, everything is available there online. So just surf it, just explore the internet, type something about their life, type something about their future, what they want to become. I want to be there in the engineering line. So lot many engineering things are there. Lot many things are available there in the market. I want to go to the NEET. So NEET also, the forms are available there. Everything is there available there on the internet. He or she has to just explore it. Lot many opportunities they are having. Work from home, do this part, do that part. Everything is available. So why not? I can. Now I, as an educator, now I'll come down to my level to understand. And as an educator, as a leader of the school, first of all, I have to train my teachers to come down to the understanding level of the students of ninth and 10th standard. I'm not talking about the students less than 8th standard. I want to talk about the ninth and 10th standard, wherein the young age or the teen age get starts. The psychological aspect starts. The harmonical changes are happening in that. The youth's young age starts from this particular area. I have to tell my teachers, I have to tell my staff to understand the psychology of the students and understand their futuristic plans and go to the level of that particular child, because every child matters to us. It's not that we have to understand the psychology of the whole class, because every child has got different psychologies. I want to go in this area, I want to go in that area, I want to go in that area. Ma'am, sir, can you please help me out? So a child comes to ask us, a young child comes to ask us, we have to be 125% if the child is 100%. If the child is 80%, we have to be 85%. I mean to say here, okay, we have to be more advanced than the students. The young age at today, child knows everything. Now the child has got to know, when the child was there on the online session, he or she was next to their parents. The parents are today, the parent is very much educated and are taking care of their kids, because as I told in the beginning, everything is available there in the on the internet. Just surf it out. You will get each and everything there on the website, each and everything there on the internet. You don't have to reach personally to that particular college or the institution or the organization or the university. Once your admission is done, you can go directly. So lots of opportunities today's youth is getting to know and can serve and can go ahead in their own life. The only thing, the parents, today's parents have to be more practical enough, instead of becoming only the theoretical, more practical enough to understand exactly what my child wants to do in his or her future. Let us try to understand their psychology. Let us try to not make compulsory for our kids only. No, you don't, you are not going to do this thing, you have to do this thing, you have to do this thing. I personally feel, as a father also, I am also having two kids of my own, so wherein I try to give little bit or more freedom to my children to choose their own career. Yes, today's youth has understood what he or she has to be there in the futuristic life, what he or she wants to become in the future. For that, what is the struggle, what we can help them as a parents, as an educators, as a leader, as the teachers, as the felicitators, what exactly we can give it to the student, that we have to understand their mindset, understand their psychology, and go on helping them. Today is the day where we need to definitely help them out and bring them. On the contrary, on the other side, I could try to say through this platform to each and every youth, to each and every child, okay, yes, the computer, the mobile, the internet has given you lots of opportunities, but on the contrary, on the other side, we need to understand the culture of India also. Indian culture is such that you have to get up early in the morning, 5:30. The first and the basic part is to go and touch the feet of your parents. That is called blessings. उनकी दुआ के बगैर आपकी जिंदगी अधूरी है, उनकी ब्लेसिंग्स के बगैर, पेरेंट्स के ब्लेसिंग्स के बगैर आपकी जिंदगी अधूरी है. You have to be all the time looking at your parents. Exactly, some expectations are there. That is exactly called as the moral values. That is exactly called as understanding of the parents feelings also. Yes, they are there all the time, day and night. They are helping, they are guiding you, they are making you aware of your life. But it is our duty, I'm talking to the youth, our duty also to understand their feelings and start your day with their blessings. आज की दुनिया में हमने ये भी देखा है कि बहुत सारे बच्चे यंग जनरेशन वाले बच्चे अपने माँ बाप की तरफ वैसे नहीं देखते हैं जैसे उनको देखना चाहिए. हमारे जमाने में यही कहा जाता था कि पापा बोला करते थे कि आपको ये करना है. यस, without any attention, blindly we start just following whatever we got it. But today is something else, something different. Children have become more smart than the parents. Parents का जमाना, आज कहते हैं कि पापा आपका जमाना कुछ और था, आपके जमाने में इंटरनेट नहीं था, आपके जमाने में मोबाइल नहीं था, आपके जमाने में लैपटॉप नहीं था, हमारे जमाने में ये सारी चीजें आती है. जस्ट टाइप इट आउट, एवरीथिंग इज अवेलेबल ऑन दैट. सो चेंज. Children are asking us to change. Yes, sometimes it is good to change according to the trend, according to the situation, according to the understanding of the students, our own kids. But on the other sides, we as the parents, as an educators, as a felicitators, we have to understand that moral values are also important, manners are also important. That will never go away from your life, because you, when you are there in the market, when you are there in any of the colleges, your values, your manners does matter. So this is what I thought of sharing from my side on this International Youth Festival. Thank you, Ravi sir, for inviting me, specifically giving me the chance to speak on this occasion. And first of all, I should have started with telling I beg your pardon for joining a bit late, because I was traveling and I was traveling back home. Thank you, Madam Anjum ma'am, for inviting me. Thank you for reminding me to join this session. And thank you, everybody. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful talk. Actually, you touched a very important point that we somewhere we need to pay attention to the youth if we aim to attain the SDG 04 by 2030. We need to pay attention to the youth, and we have to empower them. We have to pay more attention on them, and we have to make focus on them. And
Ji.
along with the education, we have to pay equal attention to the family ethics and the moral values as well.
Ji.
But sir, like you started with the pandemic time. So I have one question for you. During the pandemic, we saw that many children lost their parents. There were
Ji.
some of the families who had suffered so much of financial loss that they were not able to pay the fees of their children. So this
Ji.
has somewhere increased the number of dropouts. The second condition that we saw a few months ago was eruption of wars in some countries. So we send our children for higher education to foreign universities.
Ji.
And if such conditions arise, then the students have to come back.
Ji.
And in India, we know that most of the parents are actually not able to afford sending their children to foreign university. They are managing it with the help of education room. So in
Ji.
that case, if there is an uncertainty whether the child will be able to continue his education or not, again, that increases the possibility of dropouts, especially for the youths in this case.
Ji.
So
Ji.
what can we do that the number of dropouts doesn't increase? Or what can we do to decrease the number of dropouts?
That's a really very good question. And I could feel there are three parts here. One is the parents. The second part is the organization or the institution, or I can use the word management. And the third part, exactly, I could say the NGOs. These are the three parts wherein we can seek the help. The first and the foremost part is the parents. If they are not able to afford, I understand exactly your question. You're under this thing. Okay, yes, some of the parents, they want to do something for their children, but due to unaffordability and due to the pandemic situation where they could not survive very well because of that. The second part comes here is called as the management of the organization. If they see that really the child is really doing very well and the student is facing the problem because of the monetary issue, or I feel I could give you one example here, ma'am. I am teaching there in Empros International School. I remember 2019, 20, 2021, and 20, specifically 20 March when it got started. I remember two of my students, they have lost their parents. Both the parents, I could say here, both. So what to do, how to do? I purposely wrote a huge report based on exactly the feedback I got it from my teachers telling, "Okay, sir, the child is really academically very good, wonderful. He or she both. One was a boy, one was a girl, are doing really very well. So we need to help out to them." So personally, I wrote a huge report and kept it in front of my management. Management did help me out in that at that particular time. I salute to that particular management at that time. Ke, yes, sir, we will definitely try to do something for these kids if they have lost their parents at that particular pandemic time. The third part, as I told you, something about the NGOs at this particular time, I could feel yes, the NGOs, they have really done very well in this particular situation and then helped out many a people. Like I remember now also, I could say this particular platform, that is IDYM, Igniting Dream of Youth Minds, Young Minds. The word itself is telling something about the young and the youth. And Mr. Ravi himself is a young boy, is a young challenge right at this particular moment. He is helping out so many schools, so many children, so many educators. I could feel every now and then, whenever I am there in touch with him, yes, boss, you tell him, the way he comes out with all these things, I could feel he is doing a wonder and he's helping out so many students. I remember many a times in the beginning when he started this particular platform, it was everything was free of cost. So some of the our educators, unfortunately, they were taking some kind of advantage of all these things and telling, even though they don't join, just join for 2 minutes and asking for the certificate. But later on, and then when Ravi sir started deciding, okay, we will not be giving the certificates to the people those who don't join it, that was wonderful decision. But on the other side, what I mean to say here exactly, he is helping the poor students, needy students, the way he was doing it. Nowadays, he is charging very meager amount to any of these sessions happening here, maybe certificates, maybe some kind of award giving, very meager, wherein I see the market is full of awards coming out with lots of amount they are charging it from this thing. But here, whatever he is charging, 200 rupees, 199 rupees, just 499 rupees, 1600 rupees, whatever the amount he is charging only for the sake of charging, and then he is helping the needy people out of all these things. So this is what I could see. These are the NGOs, they definitely help these kind of a children out for their futuristic plans. That
Thank you
was
very
my answer, ma'am. I think so.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for a beautiful answer. In fact, because this is not only in the time of pandemic. Actually, we have been doing this for the students of our college even before the pandemic. Because we get students from rural areas, from very remote areas, that they come with such problems, and we are always there. And we have in fact solved many of them. In fact, there was a girl who could not pay the fees, so we talked to the management, and she was asked to pay some very small amount, and
Gee,
that girl was a university topper in the first year. So
great.
as soon as she became the university topper, the college waived off the full fees of the girl.
Wow.
So it is
Wow.
somewhere like even we are working and we are supporting the students, and like one of the
Yes,
students.
we should salute these kind of a management and these kind of a people, specifically those who really understand
Yeah,
the correct scenario of the correct children.
yeah, that's really amazing. And if we all educators work in this way, somewhere we can contribute to achieve the SDG 04 by
G G
2030.
G.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. So with this, I invite the fourth speaker, Nuhu Dada sir. I think he was not well, but still he has joined the session. Nuhu Dada sir, please take over the stage.
Hello. All right. Thank you very much for actually giving me this platform. I'm sorry
Hello.
for the inconveniences, although I wasn't well for the whole day, but I still try to actually go on. So I'm very sorry for all the inconveniences. Please, can you all hear me?
Sir, you're audible. Please continue.
Yes, yes, sir, you are audible.
All right. So I'm very sorry for the inconveniences. All right. So I think the motion for this event is about quality education. So how do we actually give a quality education to our sometimes
I think Mr. Nuhu has lost the connection. He's lost connectivity, I think, because he's not. We are not able to see him, though he has joined after request. But maybe we can just wait for a minute, and then if he's not able to join, then we can continue. Just wait for a minute. I think he has lost connection and is not able to join back. So okay, so I think let us go forward. We are already waited for him. Okay, so we have with us our favorite Bedkar sir, who is always there to inspire and motivate us. So now I invite Bedkar sir to please guide us on this occasion. Please, sir.
Thank you, Anjum Qureshi madam, and the resource person, those who have conducted this session today. It was the topic related to our quality education. By considering the new education policy of India, the point discussed by the resource persons were very consistent to impart the quality education. Education is the field where the changes are expected as per the need and circumstances. Within few years, the everything happened to change, and that's why education system should be changed accordingly. But in every education system where it is implemented, they have keep the mind for the quality education. It's not the topic of just today, the quality education, quality education. But every educator, those who have implemented the policy at every time, it was related to quality education. But where it differs? It differences only in the tools and techniques. As we are aware that before few years, before the corona pandemic, there are no such techniques, online techniques to impart, supplement our teaching by blending our teaching. But because of the pandemic, we get every teacher, every educator of idea of imparting the knowledge through various digital platforms. It is the smart techniques. As just sir, the speaker said that everything is available on the internet, but we have to serve and grasp from that. So, in the new education policy, sorry sir, do you want to join? I will stop here. Please. Madam, can you invite them?
So you continue. He will speak later. I have
Okay.
already sent him the message.
So, for quality education, techniques should be used according to the current scenario. At the same time, the system which is imparting that technique to the students, it may be competent. And for competency, different various training programs are organized by the organizing system. So, the teacher who is the backbone of this imparting the knowledge, he should be trained, he should be skillfully changed to himself or herself so that the outcome of our education will adopt the changes and needs of the society. So, the every education policy changes according to the need, and we have to adopt all these things to achieve our goal of quality education forever. Thank you, madam, for inviting me, and thank you to IDYM Guru Ravi Shankar sir and all the resource persons, those who are just giving knowledge, sharing knowledge daily, and your efforts as a host every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. We always love hearing from you. Your reviews, they are amazing. We always love hearing from you. And we also admire you that you every day you attend the sessions and you are present till the end of the session. Even Shada ma'am agrees with me because we have been even the co-speakers in some of the sessions. So Nuhu sir is actually back. I think he lost connectivity. So Nuhu sir, can you please rejoin? Can you please start the session again?
All right, all right. Thank you very much. I'm very sorry for the inconveniences. I'm not aware all this while, but I just try to cope with it. All right. I think the motion we have today is how to have, a quality education, and we all attest to the fact that education serves as the key to success, as we all know. Sometimes, how do we enhance quality education? They are most of our teachers, therefore, they are really they are learned, and let me say, they are actually intelligent though, but they don't have the experience on how to nurture or on how to groom. Our students, because there are some teachers, if we give them examination, they can pass very well. But how to train students to also become like them or more than them, they don't have that quality. So I would actually advise us whenever we actually appointing or selecting teachers to teach our students, we have to look into those people who have the skills in order to teach our students or to groom them, to nurture them, for them to become like them or better than them. And I think this one can help us because education liberates the intellect, unlocks the imagination, and is fundamental for self-respect. It is the key to prosperity and self-respect. So now, if education is the key to prosperity and service, so therefore we must actually emphasize on those, or most especially on our teachers. If our students will be well trained, if our students will have much intelligence, therefore we have emphasize very much on our teachers, those who are taking care of our students. And moreover, every student have the way of which we can pass through and get them. Well, there are some students, they actually have this in practical aspects. They can actually show the experience. But there are others too, in terms of what, if it comes like maybe book or reading, they have much experience also. So me, I actually see it to be like we have to emphasize on our teachers those who teach our students, if they have the skills to teach or they don't have. Not like we should base on because they have better results, because they have better degrees. It's not about that, but it's about how skillful they are to teach or to train our students. So there is a little I can say about this aspect. Hello?
You're audible, sir. You're
You're
audible.
audible. So please continue.
Hello?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please continue.
All right. So for me, I really believe that we have to emphasize on skillful teachers, not because we shouldn't be solely based on qualification. Because I can see nowadays some of our teachers would actually end up buying result or buying certificates. Meanwhile, for them, they are not experienced like what is written on their certificate. So sometimes we really need to emphasize on their certificates, or I mean, emphasize on their skills, their experience of teaching, not to solely base because they have their qualification, because we see their name also on it. We thought that they could give birth to our children. Meanwhile, it's not like that. So for me, I really believe that if we really emphasize on their skills on how to teach our students, that one would really help than we only basing on their qualifications. And again, sometimes most students have their own way of learning. So sometimes we also need to emphasize on how we can get them into our our course, however you want to pass them through. Because there are some students, if in terms of practical aspects, they can really grab a lot of things. But there are some students who, in terms of what maybe reading or written aspects, they can grab a lot of things also. So we have to also monitor and know which way can we pass through and get these students to our expectations. Which way can we pass through and let these students understand what we are ever telling them. And I really believe that if we also check on that aspect, we can also give them the best ever we want to give to them. And this is a very important thing that I would like us to also emphasize on. So please, there is a little thing I can say about this aspect of we having a quality of education for our children. Hello?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes, I believe you heard me, right?
See, are you over with the talk?
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yeah, yeah.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're
Yes, are you
audible.
hearing me?
Yeah. Are you continuing?
All right. Everyone can help to make sure that we meet the global goals. Use this 10 target to create, for we to have what? Ensure quality education for our children. Because today I can say that everything that we are doing, I can say about 99%, we cannot exclude education. Because without education, there's no way we can actually come together as one, as the whole world, as we are. Everything that we are doing as the education takes about 99%. So let's us all foster on how to give a quality education to our children. And how do we give quality education to our children? That's why I said we have to select skillful teachers, not based on because of their qualification. Secondly, let's monitor. Let's monitor how we can do what we can let our children understand whatever thing we are teaching them. But there are some children we can get them in a practical aspect, but there are some children also in a reading aspect or any different aspect as well. We can also get them. But if we don't foster on that and we are solely based on one aspect, and the teacher must be able to conquer every aspect, being in practical, being in theory, whatsoever. We have to be able to capture all those aspects. And I really believe that if we emphasize on these two aspects, we can be able to give the best education or the quality education to our children for them to become like us or more than us. Most of the times, one thing is for we to be teachers or teachers as per se. Sometimes some teachers solely based on, oh, I'm teaching because I'm expecting at the end of the month for me to be paid. That's the only thing that's giving us energy to teach so that at the end of the month or at the end of the week, they pay you. That's the only thing. But teacher, or as a teacher or as a lecturer, we have to develop the love of lecturing, the love of teaching, not solely based on we getting paid. Because sometimes we only based on, oh, to teach in order to get money so that we can earn a living. But to teach is out of what? Sacrificing, out of dedicating, out of we devoting our time and ourselves. But if we are to teach and we have to base on for commission or for salary from our government, it wouldn't help. So I would entreat every teacher across the globe for we to develop the heart, for we to sacrifice whenever we are teaching, not solely based on what the salary that the government is going to pay us, but for we to love it, not for teaching's sake, because it's our duty. Without a love for teaching, then everything we are doing will be wasting time. So love is very important. Loving what we do can give us the best ever that we want to give to our students. But without we loving it, we cannot give them the best. And again, let's always aim to be like, we want them to become like us, or for them to become more than us. Not to be like not to be like they have to be under us always. Every teacher must aim that my student that I'm teaching, I want them to become like me or more than me. Not for we to still be, not for me to still be better than them. For them to become like us or more than us. This should be the mission we should have whenever we are teaching the students. So there is a clarion call I am sounding to all of the teachers across the globe that if you are teaching our students, let's aim, let's foster much for them to become like us or more than us. That is the only way we can come together to shake the world, to make a difference. Without this, it can never happen. And again, one thing I also like to emphasize on is we sometimes have a laissez-faire attitude whenever we are in our field of teaching. Sometimes we are too adamant. Sometimes it's as if not because we get paid, if not because the government will pay us, we wouldn't do it. Some people, because, and sometimes I only foster on this one. If you are in a public sector, which is the government sector, and we are teaching, or whether you are a nurse or whether you are a teacher, sometimes you are doing it, we have a laissez-faire attitude. Because it is not for me, because it's not for us, we don't give our best. But let me say something. Suppose you open a restaurant on your own. You open your own restaurant on your own. And maybe this restaurant is going to progress depending on the time you give to it, depending on how the effort you give to it. You actually give your best. You make sure every morning 6 a.m. you are there. Make sure every evening 10 p.m. before you close. But if it is the public sector, which is the government owned, we do it anyhow because it's not for our own. We doesn't care. And this is something that is really killing the system of education because it's a government field. We don't devote our time. We don't give our best because after all, we know it's not for us, but for the government. Our expectation is for we to do, for we to be there, for we to just be there and get paid. And this, which is not good. Moreover, some teachers are just existing. They are not doing the work. They are just existing as teachers. They are just existing as lecturers, but they are not doing the work. Because, after all, we call he's a teacher. But not knowing that you have teacher and you have teacher. You have teacher indeed, and you have teacher by existence. They are just existing as teachers, but they are not doing the work of a teacher, which is not good. So I would actually advise that we have to serve a strong pillar, or we have to actually find some tools or equipment in which we can be always investigating on how teachers are teaching our students, whether if they are giving their best or not. And lastly, let me come to the parents aspect. The only way that our children can become the best, the only way that we teachers can offer best education to students is when the parents also come into some home. Then they say whenever they go home, the next responsibility is actually on what? On sorry to say, on our parents, on the parents. But whenever they go home, the parents should emphasize, the parents should foster whether if the students have their children as they come back home, are they going through their nose? Are they really going through their nose? Do they even ask them that when they went to school, what did they teach them? Because if our parents, behave or relate to them adamantly without being consistent on asking them, have you done your homeworks? Are you learning? Are you doing this? So without the parents monitoring them, teachers' effort to become zero. So sometimes teachers can give 99 or 95%, but the remaining 5 or 10%, without parents also supporting in that, we can never give quality education. So sometimes let's do not blame our teachers that they are the people who don't give the best to our children. But sometimes we, the parents too, we serve a very important role. Because if the teachers teach them finish, when they come, because they spend almost majority of the hours in the house, not in the school. They come to the school for some few hours, but about 70 hours, 70% of their duration is being spent in the house. So parents also serve a very important role in the aspect of what education, for we giving quality education to the parents. Therefore, we the parents and we the teachers have to come together as one to monitor our children very well, whether if they are really coping with the ethics of the education or with the ethics of the school or not. If they are not doing so, let's just make sure we have to keep them on the line so that they wouldn't become, they wouldn't become reluctant, or we don't want them to become deviant, because again, there are some students which are very recalcitrant and very deviant in school. They are very recalcitrant. Sometimes we all know that when we went to school, we actually go with the aim of what academically, for we to foster much in our academic. But sometimes as we go to school, there are some children too, instead of them for them to learn, for them to be in class, for them to attend to classes in school, they wouldn't. They'll end up following their peers, doing other things which would not contribute to their success in their examination, which will later end them for them to perform abysmally in their education. So for me, I would suggest that children, parents should really monitor their kids whenever they send them to school, whether if they are coping with the ethics of the school or they are not. If not, our teachers, their effort will be zero. So I really believe that if parents and teachers come together as one, we can be able to conquer our children, to offer them better education system ever. Without that, I'm not sure we can be able to do that. So these are the things I suggest that if we really foster much on it, we can be able to do it to create a differences. Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're audible. Are you done with your
Yes,
talk?
so for me, I really believe. Yes, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please speak.
All right, so for me, we have always been singing. We have been always been singing. We have been always been singing that education is the key to success. But sometimes it's also tend to be what the key for students to also and for them to lose their career also. So sometimes let's actually monitor it very well. And I want us to also force us to have effective communication. Some of the tools in order for our children to have the quality education is effective communication between teachers and who and the parents. If we are able to have effective communication between teachers and the parents, therefore we can give best to our children or to our students. Because without we the teachers or without the parents knowing what the children are doing in the school, and again without the teachers knowing what the children are doing in the house, it will be very hard for you to give them the best, so that it can serve as a monetary system for which we monitor our children on their daily basis, being in house, in the school. We will know how they are coping, whether if they are really emphasizing on what teaching them or not. These are the things I want to emphasize on. And if we emphasize on, you can be able to help us also.
Okay. Okay. Thank you,
And
sir.
again, there is one thing I want to say. You know, sometimes I don't know how about Asia countries, but for me, I'm African. I'm an African, and I know how things are going. I can see that Africa here we actually solely based on the theoretical aspects. We solely based on the theoretical aspects. But sometimes in the theoretical aspects, I can say that we are very intelligent in the theoretical aspect. But one thing we lack is the practical aspects. African, we can know so many things. We can know so many things about, so we can be very intelligent, brilliant so many aspects. But the practical aspect we don't have. Because something one thing that made the Asian country for them to become bigger, better than us, is actually because whenever they learn the theoretical aspect, they apply the practical aspect. But so we can know so many things, but how to practicalize it, we don't do it. Supposing maybe how to manufacture or how to produce this, those things we don't know, but we have the intelligence, we have the knowledge about those things. So what I will also emphasize on now, let's not don't solely based on the theoretical aspect, but let's emphasize on the practical aspect as well. If we learn know how to do it, If we have information about it, let's know how to also do it as well. Not only to have the information, not only how to have the knowledge about it, but also let's also learn on how to manufacture those things. Because sometimes learning or having a theoretical aspect without you having the knowledge of doing that or you practicing on it, it become waste. So I will also emphasize on let's do 50%, let's go to the theoretical 50%. Together we can be able to make we can see also. So thank you very much. I'm not well today. I won't say this morning, but I tried my best to cope. I couldn't give my best because how I actually anticipated for this meeting, it wasn't like I anticipated to my best, but then there is a little and say about it. And I really thank everyone. Why I'm sorry I couldn't introduce myself. My name is actually I'm from Ghana, and I'm actually greeting everybody from Ghana. We greeting everybody from West Africa. So much I deal with.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, that you were not well and you had connectivity issues. Still, you joined the session. I think if you would not have joined, we would have missed so much of valuable information. Thank you very much, sir. It was really, I would really like to appreciate you that you joined and you share so much of your knowledge with us. Thank you very much, sir. So with this, we come to, so this was the last speaker for the today's session. And with this, we come to the end of the session. And I hope you have tried to actually cover all the objectives of SDG 04, that is ensuring free and quality education for the children at the primary as well as the pre-primary level, increasing the number of youth in the higher education and increasing the number of youths acquiring technical and vocational skills, and obviously reducing the gender gap in education and building inclusive and safe schools and increasing the number of qualified educators, especially in the developing countries, and expanding scholarship schemes for the students for higher to encourage them for higher education. And all about that, the youth should acquire knowledge to support sustainability and development. So that was really an interesting session. We had a panel of 4 very talented and eminent speakers today. So, but before going, I would like to thank all our 4 speakers, Nuhu Dora sir, Dr. Ishtiaq Ahmed sir, Dr. Shada Chakravarti ma'am, Ankushitra and Sumitra Banerjee ma'am. Thank you, every one of you, for sharing your valuable time and valuable knowledge with us. I also thank Dr. Bedkar sir for attending and guiding us on today's occasion. I also thank Ravi sir, Zeenat ma'am, and our dear Dinu Lasmi ma'am, and all the talented team members of IDYM, because without them, without their support, arranging such a beautiful session would not have been possible. So good night, goodbye, and God bless you all. And we will be having another session tomorrow on SDG 05. So please try to attend the sessions and please join us for the sessions. Thank you very much.